Well, moving into our next story of the day, this one's insane. Conservatives are slamming Biden, and rightfully so, because Biden is saying that white supremacy is the most dangerous terrorist threat to our nation. What an insane thing. And we got the footage to prove it, folks. We got the footage to prove it. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. It's going to be a little bit of a short episode because yesterday was Mother's Day. It's hard to prep, but we're still getting the news out to you nonetheless. Hit that join tab. Become a true American patriot if you like. We also have a book on sale, or not on sale, but a book that you could purchase through Amazon, Barnes & Noble's, Walmart, and the link down below. Would love your support on that end. So President Joe Biden was slammed by critics after he denounced white supremacy, which is a good thing. White supremacy is evil. I hate racism. I hate white supremacy. If you're a white supremacist or a racist that watched the Ball Brad show, we don't want you here. Just going to be clear about that so we can't get some leftist saying, oh, you're racist, you bigot. I don't like racism. I'm not racist. I want black people to flourish. Any race, I want them to flourish. I want them to do well. Can't be clear enough about that. As the most dangerous terrorist threat to the United States during a graduation address on Saturday. Now, I've been at this university before, so you'll hear what university it is, and then it's going to make sense to you in terms of who he's talking to, and it's sad that he's pushing this agenda, especially talking to these specific type of students. So he tied it to the January 6th assault on the U.S. Capitol. See, that was a bunch of white supremacists rushing the building. He's getting that because of the Proud Boy stuff that's being pushed. So he tells this to Howard University students. If you've ever been on Howard campus, which I have many of times, it is predominantly a black university. So if you're a white man walking on the university, you're going to get heads turned into like, whoa, what are you doing here? Which happened to me every time I was on campus. Nobody ever said anything weird or disrespectful to me or anything like that. Lovely people, right? Lovely people at Howard University. I had a great time there. Students were so welcoming. I was doing Bible studies and stuff on campus every now and then, but that's here nor there. But he stands up here and he says, stand up against poison white supremacy. True, that is true. And he says, is the most dangerous threat in our homeland, he said. I'm not just saying this because I'm at a black university. I say this wherever I go. Well, that's not necessarily a good thing either, because you're lying, you're gaslighting, making it seem like something is out there and it's a big deal when in reality it isn't. Again, white supremacy is bad. Racism is bad. Systemic racism was bad in the past. It doesn't exist today. But they keep pushing. The Democrats keep pushing this whole thing. And you got an awesome tweet here by Clay Travis saying, Joe Biden says the most dangerous threat to America is white supremacy. I mean, this is completely bonkers. Did anyone talk like this in the 1980s, 1990s, the 2000s, or even 2010s? Of course not. Yet suddenly white supremacy is the biggest threat in America. I don't even think it's one of the biggest biggest threats, rather. I actually agree with that. It's amazing how the Democrats keep creating this makeshift reality and pushing it on people, and people are actually absorbing it and believing it. So if you look at kind of the history of the Democrat Party spent most of the 19th century and much of the 20th century using overt racism to win elections, which is 100% true. I mean, the Democrat Party, almost since its inception, actually, has been a party about race. I mean, everything they've done from hindering and oppressing black people to modern day on a metaphorical level in terms of a plantational thinking, that comes more from Candace Owens and Dinesh D'Souza. By oppressing and keeping black people down, that is the Democrat Party. I mean, all the way through, but somehow they try to, again, makeshift reality and put it on Republicans that there was some great big shift, a flip-flop of racist Democrats going to the Republican Party and those non-racist Republicans going to the Democrat Party, which is not true, by the way. Historically and factually is not true. The people that believe that are in like some Howard Zinn 1619 project revisionist history. So now they're doing it again in the 21st century. Racism just looks a lot different than it did in the 19th century version, according to them. The flames were fanned by the Republican National Committee's Twitter account, which shared the clip of Biden saying this. We got the clip for you. We're not going to play the whole thing, but here's the clip of Biden saying it.
Guts and the hearts to stand up for the best in us, to choose love over hate, unity over disunion, progress over retreat, to stand up against the poison of white supremacy, as I did my inaugural address, to single out as the most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy.
The crazy thing is people are clapping for it, folks. People are clapping for it because they believe it. What an insane statement. And he also started off saying love over hate. The same guy that's calling half of the nation, the MAGA supporters, he's calling everybody extremists. The Republican side of the aisle is extremists and a threat to democracy. That's what he thinks of you. But love over hate, guys. Love over hate. And the messaging here is insane. saying it's the greatest threat to democracy, greatest threat to our homeland, greatest threat to America is white supremacy. There's entire countries that want to wipe you off the face of the earth, cease to exist, exterminate you. All of us, regardless of color of our skin, they want to remove us. There's a place called Iran right now that wants to build nuclear weapons to wipe Israel and us off the face of the planet. North Korea wants to do the same thing, and he's going to push that this is the greatest threat. Gaslighting, creating a makeshift reality, which is what the Democrats have been doing for a very long time, almost since their inception. And now they're just doing it on a metaphorical level of creating a false worldview that there's serious problems in terms of racism in our country, which there is not. If you want to see racism, look to other countries. Their racism level is like up here. We are way, way down here. Again, as you saw from Clay Travis, not even hitting the top 50 in terms of problems that we got going on. But when you create this makeshift worldview, you lead people in a direction that's not built for success, but built for keeping them down. You're going to have an entire group of people here that believe this ideology that's coming from the Democrat Party, that systemic racism out there, that there's some nameless, faceless, shadowy figure out there that wants to oppress you. Nobody cares enough about you to oppress you. It's a sad thing to say, but most Americans just want to worry about their own life and figure out the problems they have in their own life. We don't got time to focus on other people. We don't got time to focus on race and all that other stuff. We got our own ish to figure out. I want you to be successful. Everybody that watches the show, I want you to be successful. I don't care about anybody's color of their skin. I can care less about it. I just want you to make a sequence of good decisions and do well in life and be okay in life. But the Democrat Party is pushing this crazy, crazy narrative, and they will continue to do so because it gets votes. It makes people reliant on the government. It makes people reliant on the Democrat Party, which is why they continue to vote for it. He also brought up Vice President Kamala Harris, who I guess is a Howard grad herself, and touted his appointment of Ketanji Brown Jackson. Both are the first women to hold their posts. Like bragging about the whole discrimination aspect of limiting the pool of candidates for the Supreme Court appointment of black or person of color and their gender. So screw everybody else of where you're at. We're just going to limit to that, which is not necessarily a good thing, by the way. I'm not saying she's not qualified to do her job, but you can't really say, quote, by the way, she's brighter than the rest when you weren't even able to reach out to the rest because you limited it by gender and race, which should be wrong. I mean, that's terrible. There's a lot of other races out there that should be included in that. This right here is what's most important, and that you are upholding the Constitution and making, or should I say, deciding certain decisions based on the Constitution. I think that's a better way of phrasing it. Biden returned to the soul of the nation themes as he spoke to students at, again, Howard University, and joined by his political powerful backer, Representative James C. Calburn of South Carolina, I believe. I see you leading, and I'm not again exaggerating. You are going to be leading it, he told graduating students. Again, let's be clear. For those who don't want this future. There are those who demonize and pit people against one another. God, sounds a lot like Joe Biden calling everybody MAGA extremists, a threat to democracy. There are those who would do anything, everything, no matter how desperate or immoral, to hold on to power. Wow. Coming out of Joe Biden's mouth. Coming out of his mouth. Oh, the irony. The irony. That's never going to be an easy battle. But I know this. The oldest, most sinister forces, they believe they'll determine America's future, but they are wrong. We will determine America's future. You will determine America's future. I mean, there's part truth and part just insane in there, and just irony as well that he just doesn't see because Joe Biden has no mirrors and can't look at it and what he's saying and ever reflected upon himself going, oh God, maybe I'm talking about myself. Yeesh. He spoke as Special Counselor Jack Smith continues to probe the election overturn effort. While polls show a narrow gap between Biden and Trump, the leading GOP presidential candidate, Biden also spoke on January 6th and the battle for democracy. Of course he did, because he has an agenda to push. Because the January 6th stuff was all about white supremacists, going into the Capitol, when basically Capitol Police were giving them like VIP access and just walking them around. You actually had people with their hands in their pockets just shooting the crap to police officers inside the Capitol when all of this was going on. Like people were just checking their phone, just kind of going like this, just shooting the shit. You know, if they had beers, they would have drank them. But again, it's all about perception. It's all about creating a viewpoint in a single small lens for people to look through. And that's the only thing they want you to see. They don't want you to see all the other stuff, which is why they never released the 40,000 hours of footage regarding January 6th, but Tucker Carlson had to do so. The Republicans had to do so. And then when the committee, the January 6th committee, was exposed for it, you know who they blamed? They blamed their staffers, because it actually showed a transcript. It showed basically a pen on the footage of when and how they saw it, or basically when they saw it. And it showed that they did look at all the footage, but they blamed it on the staffers for going, well, they didn't tell us about it. It's amazing how they passed the buck on to somebody else. It's such a political thing. Yeah, the Biden administration blaming the Putin's price hike. It's Russia's fault for ending Ukraine, why gas prices went up in inflation, even though Joe Biden handed out COVID-19 stimulus checks like they were hotcakes. It's always everybody else's fault. It's never his fault. He's blaming Donald Trump for illegal immigration. Let that one sink in. Let that one sink in. It's insane. And like I said, we shouldn't be creating a worldview like this where you're telling people that they're going to be oppressed by the color of their skin. But that's the Democrat Party for you. It's always been that for the Democrat Party. They won't change because it gets votes. They won't change because they have an agenda to push. It's insane. Again, conservatives, Republicans, regardless of skin color, we want you to do well. We want you to assimilate to the country, go by the creed that our founders created, push good things, make a sequence of good decisions in your life, and be successful. By God, be as successful as you want. We would love for you to be, regardless of your skin color. Don't believe what Democrats are saying. If you're somebody of color, if you're non-white, even if you are white, don't matter. Don't listen to the Democrat Party and this stuff, because it is insane. You could be successful. You could be president of the United States if you wanted to. Oh, folks. Well, that's going to be the show for today. Hit that like and subscribe button, folks, if you haven't already, and I'll see you tomorrow here on The Bald Brad Show. I hope you enjoyed that clip from The Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.